Well, just so you know, I want to spill a little tea for you, since people on Reddit nowadays, they like to go on and spill tea about the Ambani wedding. So I can give you a little of tea about this. So a friend of mine who is actually related to the Ambanis, he's a blood relative. So he told me like a year after the lockdown, we were catching up, and he told me that it's funny because he doesn't also like them. Personally, he doesn't like them, even though he's related to them. And I don't even know if he even attended the wedding. But he was telling me how Mukesh Ambani had liquidated all his assets, and Isha had left the house. She has a beautiful house on Worli Sea Face, and that's where she and Anand Piramal live. And she left that house and she moved back into Antillia. And he told me this happened I would say 4 years back now. And I didn't, okay, I take everything with a grain of salt. And although I know he is related to them and I know he's going to tell me the truth, I still like to give the benefit of the doubt that maybe there might be something that is not entirely true, because when you have maybe a bitterness, amongst family rivalry or something, maybe, maybe you might just, glorify a story because you don't like that person. But then funny enough, when my team sent me the Reddit tea that was being spilled on the Ambani wedding, and I was they were saying that Isha and Anand, it's all a photo op. In front of the cameras, they act like things are normal, but they don't talk to each other. They don't have a marriage. They don't even look at each other. And I was like, okay, well, that makes all the sense, because the guy who's related to them already told me this is what happened. And another thing I'll tell you, I have a friend who lives, or somebody I know lives in Churchgate, this Asiatic building. And it's a building that also has LIC, and I know LIC is an insurance company, and there's a lot of scam around LIC, which is supposed to get exposed if it hasn't been already, because Sushant had told me about it. Sushant Singh Rajput, the actor, so he had told me about LIC, and I was just this is just it's so much, because I'm not from India, and then I've been living there on and off since 2014. And then I was there throughout the whole lockdown. I was there for a solid 5 years, and I've just come back to Toronto. And some of it is just hard to digest, because there's just so many players involved. But he told me, the guy who lives in that building said that his friend was over and they saw the Ambanis in the next building. They saw the whole Ambani family staying in the building next door. And I was like, okay, so my friend who's related to the Ambanis, whatever he told me is true. Because there are military operations going on in India, and the building which is next door to Asiatic is guarded by all military vehicles. They're white. They look like the latest fleet of police cars. They're white, like SUVs. But there are actually military operations going on, and that building was a building that they were keeping all of the ones who are under investigation and involved, who've been involved in crimes against humanity. That was one of the buildings and locations. So when you look at the building, you can see into the compound, and you can see into the gates that you actually cannot walk in, you can't enter that compound and into the building or walk out, because they have military vehicles, all of those police vehicles, those white SUVs, guarding it. So it's bumper to bumper, and it's totally guarded. And that guy confirmed that he saw the Ambani family in there. So I'm
that means army is doing the good work.
Not Indian army. It's not Indian army. So there are military operations that are happening internationally. So if there's human trafficking happening anywhere in the world, there are special forces that are involved in the military operations. It is not the Indian army.